What I'll say to the other managing partners out there, what I've learned through this experience is the importance of data. Everything in this world, this master world, is data and metrics driven. Now I also realize everything else should also be data driven.
Most firms survive, the best ones scale. Welcome to the Managing Partners Podcast, where law firm leaders learn to think bigger. I'm Kevin Daisy. Let's jump in. Well, hello there, everyone. Welcome, and thanks again for listening to the Managing Partners Podcast. I'm excited to have you here today, and I have a special guest, someone that has been on the show before. Actually, I looked back, and it was February of 2021. So just over 5 years ago.
5 years.
5 years.
Wow.
Jeff Kimmel, welcome back to the show.
Thank you. Good to be back.
So when I first, talked to Jeff over 5 years ago, I remember him saying, hey, I'm just coming into the managing partner role. And I said, yeah, but I'm sure you have plenty to share as you're going into that new role. And he did just that. So since then, 5 years later, and we look younger today, better looking, but I'm sure a lot's happened in 5 years. So I wanted to have Jeff come back on the show. He's a repeat guest and share what the last 5 years have been like. They've had a lot of changes there, and just excited to kind of dive in. So for some of those out there listening that manage your own firms, start your own firms, maybe we're just managing, playing the role of managing partner at a existing firm. I'm sure we can learn a lot from Jeff here today, and excited to dive into it. So Jeff, you would introduce yourself, where you're located, and your firm, and what you all specialize in.
Yeah, well, most of it's the same. In the last 5 years, I'm in the same place, in the same firm, with mostly the same people. We do personal injury medical malpractice. That's our core business. And what's changed since 21 is that we've now introduced mass torts, which is a new area, a new stream of income for us, and I'm happy to talk about that. I will say that we are personal injury medical malpractice trending toward more medical malpractice. That area of our practice has grown every year, higher percentage of the caseload, higher percentage of the income, and it's because I think in that area, not many people do it. There's an opportunity for us. We're pretty good at it. We've been doing it a long time. And we have a lot of med mal cases, and most of the cases that we get do come from actually other personal injury lawyers who don't do medical malpractice because it's very time consuming, it's very expensive, it's very labor intensive, and the cases are long. They take a longer time. So we've grown in that sense. Like I said, I've grown a lot because I've learned a lot since 2021. I was sort of new to the managing partner game. I will say, though, that podcasts like yours, Kevin, have helped me. Yours in particular, the content that you put out for lawyers, for managing partners in particular, is fantastic. It's fantastic. I actually find myself looking forward to your next podcast. About the one
well, I appreciate that. I appreciate that very much.
No, my pleasure, my pleasure. But I was in 21 just learning that I really didn't know much about managing a firm because it wasn't something that I was taught in law school. It wasn't something that I knew how to do. I was a trial attorney who tried cases. I had a caseload, and I knew how to manage clients. I knew how to try a case. Knew nothing about running a business, about running this business, about managing people, about dealing with problems, about dealing with other people's problems, and hiring people and managing people. All extremely important skills. And, you need to know how to do that. And if you can't, you got to learn how to do it. And if that's a challenge, then you got to hire people who can help you do it. And so really,
Amen.
So since 2021, I can say the best thing I've done to improve my skills as a managing partner was to hire people who could help me do it and delegate those responsibilities so I can do what I do best, and I can have other people help manage the firm in their skill set. And we did hire a director of operations who came in with experience in running a business, in managing a business, in HR issues, and all the things that I sort of was skating by. And, I like to be the nice guy. I like for people to come into my office, ask me for something. I say, sure, go ahead. You could buy that. You could do that. You want this, you got it. And now, with this person in this position, it becomes something that is more of a decision that we all make together. There's a lot of input, and so it really works. And she's been terrific. So I would say the first thing, if you're going to do this, to delegate, to get people in positions where you're, I guess, deficient, or it's not your skill set to do those things. Find people to do them, and accept the help and take the help that they're giving you.
100%. Yeah. So you've come a long way. You've been in this position for a while, and you quickly realized there's people that are better at this or these areas than me. I think that's one of the biggest lessons. I have a director of operations, and same title actually, and various other people in different roles, and that's how you grow. And you all have grown. You've added new practice areas, and you can't just be the managing partner or the owner and do everything. It's just not going to work. And so once you get past that, you bring on good people that fit the culture and want to be there. They can go 1,000 miles faster than you can at what they do. So just get out of their way, let them do their thing. They'll set boundaries too. Like, I'm a yes guy too. I'll take someone on my calendar. I'll meet with people. I'll do whatever. And sometimes that's a problem. And we need those kinds of folks in our life.
Yes.
To balance it out.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So you're located in New York. So on the personal injury side, medical mal, that's New York based.
Yes,
and then mass torts, obviously anywhere. So
yeah, so that's taken us to many different new directions, and it's an interesting genesis for me for the mass torts, because I did think about it in the beginning, probably around when the time we spoke, just before COVID. I had gone to some Mass Torts Made Perfect. It's a seminar that they have where they meet.
Great event.
And I did attend that, I think like in 2018, 2019, something like that. And I sort of didn't understand it. I wasn't sure what it was. And I went there thinking, oh, okay, maybe we could do mass torts and we can get involved somehow. And my impression at that time was, if we're going to get involved, maybe we'll start trying mass tort cases. And that really is not the case. We weren't set up to be a mass tort, leadership firm, but I really didn't understand the ins and outs. And I was more confused than anything during that visit. And I left thinking, I don't think this is for me. Then recently, a few years ago, we went again, because I'm like, let me give this another shot. Things happened, and I learned some things. I said, maybe I wasn't looking at this the right way. And I realized that there is an opportunity to potentially bring a new stream of income into the firm with this mass torts, not as a leadership firm trying cases, but as someone who can generate leads, bring in clients who need a lawyer to help them because they've suffered an injury, which is what I do, but on a larger scale with different kinds of products. And now it's social media, digital products, and have my firm partner with the firms that are in the weeds and in the trenches with these cases, and essentially provide my clients with two attorneys, with a team of litigators to help them through the process. And it's a way for me to bring these clients in, get them the help they need, and then I'm not really utilizing the assets of my firm, meaning the attorneys and the staff. We're not adding to their caseload. We're not adding to their workload. It's a whole separate department, and it's early, so these cases take time. So I haven't made much money with it, but we've gotten a lot of cases, and they're sitting there, and they're going to make money at some point in the future. But what this has led to was me really starting a whole new department, or multiple departments within the firm. And that's been my biggest accomplishment, I think, to date as managing partner, is bringing in new people. And it's interesting because
I love it.
The people I brought on are intake people and marketing people in-house. And my marketing in-house person is fantastic. I mean, they're all fantastic, but she had experience and she knows SEO, but she's one person, but she's really doing the job of many, and she's doing a great job. And we brought in addition, intake. Now we had choices of going out of the firm, outside or inside, and we brought in an intake person to support this, and she's terrific as well. And so they work together. They're sort of like their own unit, and we grew to the point where we now have a second intake person.
I love it.
Yeah, and so it's been sort of where I've been spending most of my time and attention, maybe to the detriment of everything else. I'm probably not working with everybody else as much as I used to, but it's because we're getting this off the ground. The future has a balance, but right now we're really starting from the ground up, and it's where I'm spending most of my time. And it's really opened my eyes to managing. And what I'll say to the other managing partners out there, what I've learned through this experience is the importance of data. Everything in this world, this master world, is data and metrics driven. And then once I understood that, now I also realize that everything else should also be data driven. I finally get the numbers. And I'm learning all these things about marketing, obviously that but also about leads and whatnot, but more so about the financials of my business and what's bringing in money and what metrics are important and what data points really tell me what to do. Because Kevin, honestly, what I've been working on from the time I spoke with you 5 years ago up until recently is intuition, right? It's sort of like, when we meet together, we say, what's this case worth? Okay, nobody knows what a case is worth. You ask 10 people, what's a case worth? And I was sort of running the firm the same way. It's like, well, we're making money, we're bringing in cases, we're getting good results, people are happy, we must be doing great, right? I don't know. Now I look back, I'm like, I don't know. Maybe we could have done a lot better, because now I'm putting together the data and the metrics and the reports and the dashboard. And these points and this information is really helping me enormously make decisions. Now,
100%.
Now I have a reason to say we got to change this. I have a reason to say we got to do this now, or we got to stop doing this, or we got to do more of this. And I feel so much better and more comfortable making decisions, having data and statistics behind me. And I swear, I keep thinking about Moneyball. The movie.
The movie, yeah.
Yeah, and I saw that movie years ago. I'm probably dating myself, but it was all about how data and metrics changed baseball, and just some person who knew numbers and data, with the Oakland A's, said, hey, this guy's better for us than this other guy, even though the numbers may not make sense to the people based on the players' personalities or their history or whatever.
Yep.
The numbers are what mattered, and what that whole movie was about is, even though it was the worst team in baseball, once they got the data right and they drafted and put people in the positions based on their numbers and their stats and what they're most likely probably going to do, it worked. And I'm seeing it happen. I'm seeing it happen in my business. It happens. It's
great movie to watch, by the way, if you own a business. Let me hit a couple things there. So. One theme for Jeff here is his success is hiring amazing people. He mentioned his marketing person, his intake person. He's just brought on great people. So when you find good people, they will make magic happen, and they'll take care of you and your business. So super important to delegate. But you can't just find good people. Like, people don't want to work for you if you have a crappy company, or you're a bad boss, or you don't give them the room to do what they need to do. So that's just super important. And then another thing I say all the time, and this is so many people that I know that talk about this, financial people, CFOs, whatever, is know your numbers. And that's not just your finances, but your leads, the quality, how many, where they're coming from, and then intake, conversions, and then of course your financials. Like we tweak our P&L every single month, and there's always changes that we're making, and there's money bleed here and there and everywhere. You can always optimize, so I love the fact that, I'm not a numbers guy either, but I'm more excited about numbers the more I understand them.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, that's what I'm seeing. I feel better about a decision when there's numbers supporting it behind it. No one can argue with me, right? I have evidence. I'm a lawyer. I have numbers, and that's what's great. And let me also say, everything's sort of happening at the right time, which is how it works, but it's also happening coincidentally, which maybe not, but we are in the process of transitioning and migrating from a prior case management system to a newer one, right? So we were in one that was more server-based, and it wasn't cloud-based, and they're no longer supporting it and all that. So we were forced to change. And now we have, this is the opportunity that we have to make our system work so much better for us. And it's been a challenge from the start to get the people in the office who use the system to put the information in the same boxes, right? Because we have different teams. The way we work, we have attorney leading the team, and they have support staff helping the attorney. And every attorney is different, and not every attorney started with us and is still with us, right? So they've come from other places. They have their own way of doing things. They have habits. They have their own processes. And my way of managing has always been, I want to utilize their assets, and the stuff that they don't do, I don't want them to really do that. I want to put them in places where they're comfortable, where they're talented, and where they can be productive. And so if someone's a great trial attorney and they're not good at doing paper and doing motions, I'm not going to make them do motions. Like that's just the easy example. So
yeah,
the problem though is if you let everybody use the system that is tracking all your cases and documenting where the cases are and what's being done, and everyone's using it a different way, there ain't no data, right? There's nothing that's useful that comes out of a system that's not being used uniformly, and that has quality control elements to it. We've never really had that, but now we have systems in place, and we have a new system coming in, and we are preparing for the quality control as much as we are for the setup. With everything in mind, when we're setting it up, is how are we going to be able to control this, and how are we going to be able to make sure that everyone's using it the same way? Because at the end of the day, if you really want the data to be useful, it's got to be used uniformly, and that's what we're doing.
There's a saying that's garbage in, garbage out.
Yep.
I think that's a saying.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, this goes back to running a firm, running any business. It's systems and processes.
Yeah.
Right. We have to have standardization. So people plug in the right information in total, so that we can actually get the data over time too, and look back. So
and I think the important thing listen, I manage a firm. There's 30 people. We have 10 lawyers. For what we do, that's pretty big. But this applies to solo practitioners and small firms that have 3 people, right? The message is, do it early. Like get these systems and processes in place now. So when you grow well, and you grow right, and you're growing, and you can scale things when you know the data behind it. So don't minimize don't put in a smaller effort to get your systems in place. Put all your effort into that. And then as your firm grows, it'll be easier to manage the growth and to manage, additional people who come in, because you've got these systems in place. That was the mistake we made. We got the system and we did the training, they came in, once a week, whatever, and everybody did it. And then it was, every person for
free for all.
themselves. Yeah. So the best way to stay on top of it is to do it early when you only have 3 people. So spend the time, spend the money, learn. And here's the other thing. There are so many potential data points out there. There's a million different stats and data that you can get. And usually people have not enough or too much, right? So there's a sweet spot for everybody, given what your situation is, how big your firm is, what your caseload is, and who your staff is, and what their skills are. But so that's where you should be spending your time as the managing partner. Find out, the sweet spot for everybody and find out which data points are meaningful to you. And when I say data points, I'm talking about the case management. I'm talking about financials too. And of course, you have bookkeepers and accountants who can help you with that stuff. But all this stuff is so important. And to be honest, I wasn't paying attention to the accountant that much. We would meet and talk about the profit loss statement. I don't know. I'm like, what does that mean?
What do I do about it?
Right. They say, this is up 50%. Great. Okay. So now what? Keep doing it. All right. So it's really somewhere that all people managing firms, if you're a solo or whatever, that's where you should be focused on. Definitely understand the numbers and just get the numbers that are important to you and find a way to keep track of them, every month, every quarter or whatever. That's the way to do it.
I totally agree with you. It's a lot harder to add a system once you got 10, 15, 20 people. And now boom, we all now have to use this other system that we've never used before versus the third person comes in, the fourth person comes in. Hey, we have a system here. This is what we do. And that just builds and scales over time. Also, too, when you're small, kind of your point, who do you hire next? And you just because you're busy, we make decisions on busy. This person's busy, so we need another person. That person's busy, so we need another person. My employees will always ask for another staff member.
Right.
But what's the data show, and let's look at what are you really spending your time doing? Can we replace that with AI or a virtual assistant or whatever? But if you have the data, then it's easy to say, hey, we don't need another person. We need to just maybe get another software, or maybe we need to cut this out of the process. But if you have no data, you're hiring more people, and more money out the door. And that's going to hurt a small law firm for sure, trying to grow, add another associate, marketing, whatever it may be. So know your numbers across the board on everything. And your life will be much easier. You can make better decisions. And honestly, me and Jeff are both nice guys, it seems like. And yes, we're yes men, right?
Yeah. People pleasers.
It's so much easier to be direct or to make a decision if it's clear.
Right.
There's no ambiguity,
The decision's not coming from me. That's what the numbers tell us. That you can't argue with that.
Yeah, 100%. Salespeople, I have salespeople that aren't performing, but they didn't call any law firms, they didn't reach out to anybody, they didn't talk to Jeff. Then it's clear that there's no way they're going to perform if they haven't hit the other metrics, right? So it's easy to go to them and say, hey, you're not performing at what you should be. It's clear as day. Yeah. But if you're not tracking any of that stuff, then then you have to have tough conversations, and you feel weird about it, and you can have other HR situations because it's a surprise and no one knew what was going on. So it leads to lots of things. But so I'm very excited that you have taken that challenge on. And what system did you end up choosing?
Well, we're going with Neos. There was a lot there's a lot of different ones out there, and I heard good and bad things about everybody, including Neos. But we did go into this process with eyes open, and for everyone we tried, we got to utilize the system for like 2 weeks or a month. And I put the key people who are on my team in those systems for that time, and then with their feedback, that's how we made the choice. So it's maybe not for everybody, but it turned out to be the best one for us.
Well, that's great.
Yeah.
You involve your team.
Yes.
To make the selection. So.
Well, they use the system more than I do, and they're better at it than I am. And it was a natural transition too, because we currently are using TrialWorks, and it's the same company that owns TrialWorks and Neos. So as everyone's so afraid of the migration process, it should be smoother because it's the same company, but there are going to be bumps, there always are. But we got to talk about AI, because you mentioned AI, and I got to share my experiences with that because I have had a roller coaster experience with it, but I am totally into it. I am embracing it as much as possible. And of course, not everybody in my firm is, and it's something that's not going away. And I've completely embraced it. but it's an evolving relationship, we'll say. I don't think for me that I'm not replacing anybody with AI. I did think that in the beginning when I'm learning about this. I'm like, oh my God, it can do everything, So that was the messaging when this first started, and it's changing every few months. But my conclusion in getting familiar with the stuff is I'm not replacing anybody with AI, but I am such a fan of it and firmly believe that it can make everybody better. And it's a tool that I'm so much impressing on people to just use, even with your personal life, just use it. Get to know what it feels like to ask these questions and get these answers, and then ask follow-up questions and get follow-up answers, and just see how it interacts and see where it helps you in your life. And I'm saying not even at your desk. Just get familiar with it. It's an incredible thing. We are in a new age of technology that is not going away and is only getting better. And so we have a big firm, 30 people. There's people who are older who do not embrace technology and are afraid of it. And then there are the young people who it's their life. It's Tuesday. That's what they do, and AI, whatever, and everything in between. And so the challenge and what we've been experiencing is where can we bring this in where people are comfortable? Where can we bring it in where it's going to help us the most? Where can it be helping individuals the most? And the best example is my partner, and we're the same age pretty much, and he's not a tech guy. He's a trial guy, and not a paper guy, a trial guy, and he brings in a ton of business, and he's a fantastic golfer. Those are his three best skills. And so, and not tech savvy. So he says, because he all of a sudden became tech savvy when they came out with trial software that he could use on trial for documents and videos and exhibits and stuff like that. And all of a sudden he became an expert and doesn't even need an assistant now. He's got, I can do it. So, and I knew it was, and so when AI came out, he's like, oh, not for me. And I literally had to go to his desk and type in stuff for him to actually see how it worked physically, actually. And now I think he has a name for his AI because it's his best friend. It's his best friend. There's nothing he doesn't pass through AI just to see what the guy thinks. But in all honesty, he really does use it for work. He uses it to, for research, for trial prep, and for him, he's a guy that is a little disorganized in his life and even in his thoughts sometimes. And the way he describes it is that AI just organizes his thoughts for him. Like he can go in there and just sort of spill out things, and it brings it back in a way that makes more sense logically, or to the way a jury would want to hear it. And he speaks to juries incredibly well. But this tool organizes his brain in a way that makes him a better lawyer.
No, it's really amazing. I have at my company, we allow everyone to have pro licenses for chat. We're actually moving to Claude if they want, people want to use that. But and we're doing the same thing. Well, I've been hiring more people. We're actually at over 65 people. We've not replaced anybody. I think there's less need for task admin type work. We're automating a lot of stuff, but we're making a lot of people's lives easier and let them focus on what they're really good at. And so I'm very disorganized, like your partner. So it really helps me too. And I mean, it's so cool that you can build out like we have a new brand for my agency at Array, and we have a whole brand guideline and all this stuff. We can just dump that in there and say, hey, I'm going to make this graphic or this social post, run it through my brand guidelines and make sure it's on message, and it'll just fix it for you. There's all kinds of applications for it. So 100%. Everyone listening should be embracing it, using it, getting to know it. I think that's a good way to put it, Jeff. Get to know it and understand it, because it's not going anywhere. And even in like the ABA, it's like they've changed their tone on it. Like you should be using it, and using technology to improve the client's experience.
Right, but be careful. Don't cite cases that don't exist in motions, because it does hallucinate, right? I've seen it. It makes stuff
Yeah.
up because it wants to make you happy. And I know they're working on this, but it is a thing. And there are lawyers who got called out and in trouble for just taking what it said and putting it in papers that they submit to court, federal court, and the cases are not real, So
yeah, I just saw something about that this morning, I think, with the judge or something like that. But there are some dedicated softwares out there that have their own lockdown. So there are some softwares out there. I won't cite any right now, but just know that it's getting better every day. If you're not using it, your competitor is, and it can help you.
Yeah.
You don't have to fire people, replace people, but it can make everyone's life easier.
And I will say the one experience, one of the first experiences I had was exploring like a virtual receptionist, right? So, the journey of the new client and the, it's a weekend, it's nighttime, you just want consistency, you want urgency, immediacy, and what better than an AI who doesn't sleep, doesn't eat, and isn't distracted and all that. Bottom line, it doesn't work for me. It was an idea, and it sounded like a good idea, but specifically for what I do, when there's someone calling my firm who's and they've been injured, usually in a catastrophic event, whether it's from a doctor or a car accident or whatever, it's not there yet. And I will say it is good. When I was going through that experience, I was hearing certain examples of what it could do, what it can't do, and there were times I wasn't able to tell if it was not real or a bot, and it was very impressive. But the reality is, it's not, for me at this point, it's not worth the risk of any client thinking, am I talking to a person? These cases are serious enough that they have to talk to a person, and that's fine, and that's why we have an intake team, and that's why we train the intake team. These are special skills you have to talk to people who are suffering and have experienced these life-changing events. And the intake people are the first impression that these people have of me and my firm, and I can underscore the importance of that. In general, first impressions are everything for us and for this kind of work, especially with the mass torts, because we're nationally advertising. People don't know us. Before mass torts, most of our work came from attorneys who really vetted most of the stuff, because a lot of the attorneys wouldn't even send me cases that they know I would take. So the quality of the referrals from attorneys is very high. And what I've learned, and what the data shows, that the referrals from the country that come that they're responding to ads that we're putting out on Meta and videos I'm doing and all this stuff, not as good quality. Right. And those people just have a list of lawyers, and they're going down the list. And if somebody doesn't answer the phone, they go to the next number. If somebody answers the phone, they don't like it, they go to the next number. So there's a whole different approach and skill set needed to deal with those kinds of people. And that's new to us. And so we're learning. But first thing I learned is no AI for that.
Yeah. Well, I talk to lots of folks, obviously. And there's people that are hard against it, and there's some that are the opposite, where they're just, we've gone all AI for our intake. So I think it could depend on the practice area you have. If it's criminal defense, small ticket items, stuff like that. If you're not going to answer the phone, maybe AI is a better thing than not responding. So I think you just got to look at your situation, and it is getting better. I was at a conference in San Antonio for PILMA, which is a personal injury group, and there was all kinds of AI, companies, reception companies, and you could test it out. It was impressive.
Yeah.
But people could still tell if it's AI at this point. So I think, just the decision to make, but a lot of the trial attorneys I know are just not happening, and maybe one day that'll change. But
well, yeah, that's what they keep telling me. When I was going through the process, the companies I was talking to, they would say everything's in 6 months. That was like in 6 months, everything's going to be different. It's going to be better. Whatever I was asking, 6 months. And I think it's true. I think things are changing like incredibly rapidly with AI. And I'm like I was at an event last night talking to somebody who's in web design or whatever, and the things that he was telling me that his company does for their clients that would, and he said this, it would take otherwise years to accomplish these tasks. It's taken days.
Yeah.
And that I can't see that happen in my business, but this is happening. This is real. It's affecting tons of businesses and people and lives, and I'm sure there are people being replaced by AI in other fields. So
Yeah.
You can't ignore it. You have to embrace it on some level, and it's a fear thing. I think it's based in fear. Listen, my parents, I'm dealing with they're afraid of the phone. My father still pushes the buttons on the iPhone like he's dialing, on a regular phone. It hits it like this. Like, what are you doing? So, there's a fear factor that you just have to get over. You have to fight through it, and I do know it's going to continue to help us in ways that we're probably not even thinking of at the moment.
Yeah, no, totally agree with you. So yeah, I appreciate you coming on, Jeff, again on the show. You've grown so much as a managing partner, of course, and you've shared a lot of cool stuff here today. I mean, delegating, bringing on good people, letting them do their thing, bringing in people that have the experience versus someone that just comes up through the firm. We've had that situation many times here. Sometimes you got to go outside, and they don't have to have had a law firm experience. They just need to have that operational experience. So it's important to bring those people in to do the stuff that you can't do. So that's a huge thing. And then I love the fact that, I've been to Mass Sports Made Perfect out in Vegas, but you explored, didn't feel right the first time, but you found a whole nother line of business and brought that to the firm. I think that's important for everyone listening too, that, you can have blinders on, but you got to be open, listening, learning, going to conferences, masterminds, podcasts, whatever, because you never know what you might stumble onto that could, be in the next add-on or complement to your firm. So love it.
And kudos to you, man. This podcast is great. The fact that you're still doing it 5 years later, I don't know how many podcasts are done after like 2 months. So, I mean,
a lot of people start and stop.
Exactly. And you're doing a great job. How many episodes have you had? Like 500?
We're a little over 500, I think. Yeah. Yep.
That's good. Well, you put out a great.
And now and no, I appreciate that. And I love doing it because I love business. I tell people this, I own marketing companies, but I'm not passionate about marketing. I'm passionate about, operation, business, entrepreneurship. And a marketing company can be amazing or crap compared to how you run it. Same with a law firm. Some law firms perform better, but it's all about what the leadership is learning and putting into practice. And it's all stuff you can find out there for free on podcasts. So
you're doing something right. Maybe you're taking the advice of the people who come on as guests and making you a better boss.
So everyone's like, well, hey, what's the benefit of the podcast? And when I first started, I was like, well, I just want to meet lawyers because that's our client. We do marketing for law firms. That's easy. And then, so it was like, one, well, I get the relationship, one-on-one conversation. Number two, I get the content, which we can put out there to the world. It can be shared with other people. And then we get referrals a lot of times from guests, more guests that come on the show. Sometimes they do marketing themselves.
Sure.
Hey, Kevin, great. This is awesome. Can you actually look at our stuff? That happens. I don't push that. But the fourth thing is I get to learn stuff right from other business owners right here live on the show. And I can take that back and put it into practice too. So it's a lot of benefits to doing this for sure. And I appreciate having the opportunity to do it.
And I'm taking a page out of your book where I am starting a podcast that's going to be out soon. We're still working on it.
Nice.
It's really a public interest podcast about health. It's geared towards patients, how to become better advocates for yourself, using my medical malpractice background and knowledge but it's not going to be about that. It's going to be about how do you protect yourself in the health system? How can you better represent yourself and vet doctors and know how to talk to doctors and understand what goes on in the healthcare industry so you can be better served and, you know, help yourself and your family better.
I love that.
Yeah,
I think that's a great topic and approach to it. You know, a lot of law firms just want to like talk about the law and no one really wants to dial into that. So maybe a longer term, like a divorce, like there's a divorce podcast. I'm sure that would do well because some people don't get a divorce until many years later.
Right.
So they might actually tune into some stuff, but no one's going to listen to a car accident podcast. You know, I don't know. It's just, I think what you're doing is great. And if you need any help, guidance, always happy to powwow and talk since I've done this for a while. So,
thank you.
Yeah. Well, Jeff, I appreciate you coming back on and sharing where you've been and what you've learned. Plenty more to share, I'm sure. So maybe we'll have Jeff on again soon. What's the best way for anyone listening to find you and connect?
Just check out our website. It's sskblaw.com, and you know everything you need to know about us is on there, and we're here to help.
Will the podcast be linked off the site in the future?
It's a technical question. I don't know, but if it helps, I'm sure my team will make it happen. We're working on just setting up the studio right now.
Nice. Yeah, I think it's great to link it off the site. That way, that's what we do. But yeah, ask your marketing people.
I will.
All right. Well, Jeff, you stay on with me for a few secs while this uploads. And everyone, thank you so much for tuning in. And Jeff, I appreciate you not only coming on, but being a listener of the show.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you, Kevin.
We'll see you all soon on the next episode.